Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I'm delighted to finally be speaking in this most important of debates. From outside looking in, many people will assume that this place is corrupt. Let's be honest, politicians don't have a good reputation. I know the vast majority of MPs are hard-working, diligent and honest, but every example of corruption, perversion, laziness, greed or dishonesty doesn't just taint the perpetrator, it casts a shadow over all of us and this place. The only way to convince the citizens of the UK that they have a Parliament to be proud of is through ruthless honesty, even when it hurts. The alternative is an electorate that is dissatisfied, feels disenfranchised and so disengages from politics and politicians. We have a duty to support the mechanisms of a democracy. We must respect, cherish and protect them. We don't own them, we are simply the guardians who pass them on to future generations. That is why we must investigate thoroughly any possibility that these principles we claim to hold so dear have been abused. The Chilcot inquiry highlighted serious shortcomings and misgivings. When the Chilcot inquiry published its report, it said that the UK invaded Iraq before all peaceful options had been investigated. We now know there was no imminent threat from Iraq or Saddam Hussein, and the reasons for our invasion were predicated on flawed intelligence. Crucially, this flawed intelligence was not challenged, as it should have been, and quite astoundingly, there is no formal record of the decision and the grounds on which it was made that led to the invasion that started on the 20th of March 2003. The rush to war was so fast that our troops did not have time to stockpile the necessary equipment, including uniforms, boots and body armour. A lack of helicopters and armoured vehicles made it more dangerous for our forces. And by July 2009, 179 members of our armed forces had died. We will never know how many Iraqis died, but conservative estimates suggest at least 150,000, with millions more displaced from their homes. So how did this come about? How did this place get it so wrong? And how were so many MPs misled? In 2003, it was already the US policy to change the regime in Iraq. 5 years earlier, in 1998, President Clinton signed into law the Iraq Liberation Act. It was the policy of the US to support efforts to remove the regime headed by Saddam Hussein from power in Iraq. In 2003, Tony Blair, Prime Minister, threw his hat in with the US. Chilcot demonstrated quite clearly that Tony Blair bypassed his cabinet, instead relying on his so-called sofa government. Those informal meetings, which sometimes only involved a couple of his Prime Minister friends, made key decisions on the future of the country without the input of senior members of the cabinet. This is not how to solve a problem. The invasion of Iraq was an object lesson in how to escalate a problem, unless the mission was to perpetuate instability in the Middle East, in which case, mission accomplished. The last line of the motion we are debating today is crucial. It states, report to the House on what further actions they consider necessary and appropriate to help prevent any repetition of this disastrous series of events. As I deliver this speech, our forces are involved in the Battle of Mosul, so we can see that ramifications of decisions made in 2003 are still with us here today. In conclusion, Madam Deputy Speaker, we are voting today to instruct the Public Administration and Constitutional Affairs Committee to conduct a further specific examination of this contrast in public and private policy and of the presentation of intelligence. And I would say to any members who were here in 2003, with all due respect, your responsibility to the future should outweigh your duty to the past. So by supporting this motion today, you can only enhance the reputation of this place, and we should be welcomed by all fair-minded elected members.